John, which side's your good side? I'll get.
What's that?
What's your good side? The right side? I'll get a close up on
Explain
you.
my face. I know you have the technology. Please. Try to visualize. So do you. So do you. Last time I think I did UCD, you were playing drums. Yeah, you were pro with the jam sticks. So.
What's going on, man? How you doing? You've been busy. Busy. How you holding up? What's that? Should be interesting tonight, huh? Yeah. Always is. Never a dull moment.
The November 20th, 2025 meeting of the Greece Town Board will now come to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Supervisor Rylick,
Present.
Councilman DePonzio,
Present.
Councilman Murphy,
Here.
Councilman Bloomer,
Here.
Councilwoman Christodaro. Here.
I would ask everyone to please stand and join Councilman DePonzio as he leads us in the pledge. Invite everyone for a moment of silent prayer or reflection. We'll now begin with a public forum. This is an opportunity to address the town board and any issues of concern relative to the town of Greece. This is not a question and answer period, nor is it a time or place for commenting on previous applications that have come before the board. If you have a comment or a question concerning an application, or if you would like to provide the board with any type of paperwork, please leave it in the inbox located on the top of the lectern. The clerk will obtain all documents after the meeting and disperse them to the board members accordingly. Please use the center aisle when approaching the lectern. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to address the board in accordance with the town's civility policy. Please state your name and address for the record. And now I'd invite anyone that would care to address the board to come forward.
Brendan Bolson, 440 Shorecliff Drive. Good evening, members of the board. As elected officials, I believe each and every one of you looks out for and knows what is right for the wards that you represent and the people that you look out for their safety every day while you sit on this board. And I imagine if one ward realized that there was a problem in that ward and asked for help from other ward members, they would be there for them and commiserate that that could happen in their ward as well. I know in the situation of item number 3 in Island Cottage, there was enough for David DePonzio to look into it with us and be there with us while we found out and continue to find out what is wrong with that property. I know that a few months ago, well, a little more than a few now, when I spoke with Bill Murphy, and I brought up that at the Old Greece Police Station, there are officers who died from the contamination over there, and there are still potentially officers being exposed at the shooting range. And Bill, I feel the same way you do. It's gut-wrenching. And I am sorry for you if you've lost friends or colleagues, and I'm sorry to you, Chief Wood, if you have lost friends and colleagues. I don't want to see this get any worse and out of hand. And that is why all of the 2026 board members signed this pledge of 6 months of thorough testing before any new moves are made. Michael, I know you worked with the fire department. You can probably, I'm sure you've lost friends, and I know you can commiserate that if there was something in that building that was hurting your friends and coworkers and colleagues, there'd be nothing that would stop you. And you would ask for the other board members to help you research what happened there. I ask the board members tonight to help in that vote and help David and help Bill and get through this, to either vote no on it or to table it until the next board comes in to make a decision on this. Michael O'Loughlin is known as being the mayor who made the wrong decision in Love Canal. This situation is worse than Love Canal because it moves. It's insidious. You don't want your legacy to be making the wrong decision tonight. Thank you.
Can I ask you a question? I normally don't do this in public forum, but
Sure.
I've wondered this for a few times.
Yeah.
Why is it when I see pictures of you over at the site that you're claiming is contaminated now, you don't wear the mask? But every time you come in here, you wear. I see pictures of you over there at the site smoking cigarettes and
Oh, yeah.
whatnot. but now you wear the mask.
Yes. So I'm actually immune system compromised. I have a thing called mast cell activation syndrome. As far as the COVID shots go, it's like Pokemon. I've had one of each. Each time I had them, the first time I had it, my throat swelled up. They said I couldn't do Pfizer's anymore, and as a result, could not do Moderna. And each thing after that, there was, in my allergist's office, I looked like Mickey Mouse with puffed up hands. But unfortunately, I cannot get the COVID vaccine. So I am one of the immune system compromised.
So at the site where it's supposedly contaminated,
Yeah.
you don't have those issues.
Well, I live in the neighborhood, so until that stuff's addressed, it's all shared. It'd be like wearing a mask in my house. Who's doing that?
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Supervisor.
How's that knee coming along, Joe?
The knee's doing better.
Good.
Joe Camiolo, 447 Creighton Lane. I'd like to discuss with you item 3 on your agenda, the Island Cottage Road project. And again, anything that you do to make that thing move forward, I think is a major mistake. I used to run a hazardous materials team where I used to work. And whenever if you move this soil around, you're going to make those contaminants airborne, which is even going to be more of an issue. I don't see where you have to change it, and I really wish you'd consider it. And you know, anytime that this project goes on, we know it's going to endanger people, and if we lose any people, whether they be residents, construction, I want you to think about that before. So I'm strongly recommending that you not make the changes. Thank you.
Thanks, Joe.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Laura DeConnick at 1002 Long Pond Road. So tonight I wish to speak to you regarding the health of Town of Greece citizens. Tonight you have the opportunity to vote on the health of the citizens of the Town of Greece, or you can vote to pass contaminated land onto a developer that will not clean up the Island Cottage property. It is you that have the health of the citizens of the Town of Greece held in your hands tonight. You need to oppose the vote to move the Island Cottage property to Munipro. If you do not oppose the move, may you not have to hold in your heart the illnesses incurred if the new landowners do not clean up the property before building on it. My other subject tonight is in regards to the Bachman family. I'm not sure if you're voting on the decision tonight, but I hope you look inward and decide if you were provided ample time to review the court materials and documents regarding the decision to fire Mr. Bachman. Mr. Bachman was a highly regarded town of police officer, including school resource officer, prior to his leave due to an injury occurred on the job. I understood there was no dispute in his disability rating until his wife advised him of unscrupulous activity of the then deputy supervisor, Michelle Marini. I am an employee of the federal government, and under that, I am held to follow, under my employer, it's illegal to retaliate against a whistleblower, and I would think the town of Greece also has this ruling. My interpretation of what the Bachmans have experienced presents to me as whistleblower retaliation. If Mr. Bachman was investigated and found to be working beyond his disability rating, Mr. Bachman was investigated and found to be working beyond his disability rating, but please advise me how driving and walking is not within his disability rating. You town council persons are my representatives. Can you honestly vote today to fire a man that is retaliated against for advising the town of unscrupulous behavior of the then deputy supervisor? Have you been provided ample time to review the 10,000 pages and 129 hours of video evidence provided? Do you truly find this man guilty? Or do you recognize higher level officials abusing their power in preventing a highly honored police officer to receive his well-deserved health care and retirement? Remember, you're representing us, not Mr. Vrilek in the Town of Greece Police Department. Thank you.
Good evening, Ryan Murphy, 197 Old Country Road. I'd also like to address the fact you guys are going to be going into executive session after this meeting to discuss firing Matt Bachman. You laugh, prove me wrong. I'd love it if you weren't. Mr. Bachman was on September 30th of this year. The New York State Comptroller approved not only his standard 336 disability retirement, but also his performance duty disability retirement, meaning he was injured in the line of duty and gets his disability that way. This was approved by the New York State Comptroller, and I'll be leaving this for all of you. Now, it's been going through hearings for the last several months. Carly Bolanos herself, town attorney prosecuting, investigating, etc., stated herself in court filings that the comptroller has authority over retirement and retirement benefits. She also stated in a letter to the hearing officer that, and I quote, "The town's concern with respect to this is that we really won't have the proper termination of an individual who has already resigned his petition by the operation of public officers law." That's from Carly Bolanos, the person who investigated Matt Bachman, prosecuted his case, and you know very well. Now, this is Greece, and the matters that Matt and his wife helped provide evidence to against Michelle Marini. That's why the investigation here started 7 months prior to him getting injured. It says nothing to do with Matt, his service. Even Deputy Chief Springer said in his testimony, Matt has an exemplary record. Never late, no internal investigations prior to this, nothing. He is an exemplary officer. So let's say this is a legitimate investigation. In the hearing officer's report, I quote, and I will be leaving a copy of this for you guys as well, "The town board must review all evidence, the briefs, filings by the parties, and the hearing officer's advisory recommendations, then go into executive session to reach a conclusion and render a final determination on whether Bachman is guilty of any or all of the charges." That ruling came down at 9:56 p.m. Thursday night. 10,000 pages of documents, 129 hours of video. Hypothetically, you guys all broke that up evenly. Average person
now your
reads
time's
40
up, Brian. I'd like to ask you a
pages of
question.
documents.
As you quote what different people have said, Deputy Chief Springer or Carly Bolanos, where are you getting that from?
The court records, I actually read them. The testimony, the literal testimony of Deputy Chief Springer, the literal court filings from the
How do you
hearing.
get a copy of those?
It's public record. It's public record.
Which court filing are we referring to?
The Bachman,
The one a few weeks ago when he was on?
testimony of Deputy Chief Springer during that hearing that's gone on for the last 6 months. The cross-examination, the examination is public
I guess
record.
what I'm asking, you're saying the most recent hearing
Yes.
that was held, where he didn't appear.
He wasn't called as a witness. It was a direct examination of Chief Springer.
I just didn't know how you got that because I didn't know it was out.
It was actually a public hearing. It was a public hearing. I mean, I was.
You weren't there, though.
No, I was pre-banned. I was banned in advance. You were pre-banned? I was pre-banned.
Banned by
It was pretty
who?
cool.
By whom?
The judge, the hearing officer. I was pre-banned.
Really? Okay.
Yes, it was Interesting.
But but he must have given you the transcript then, or?
No, it's public record. It's a public hearing.
It's not
Any-
public,
It's
it's,
not public record until it's made public record after the determination.
that's correct,
That's for one
Councilman.
thing.
So-
So you got that illegally.
I did not get anything
So if
illegally.
you said you got those paperwork public record, that's illegal.
Correct.
Okay.
So do you want
So
to change that?
I'm
or do
asking you
wanna say- How'd you
if,
get him again?
if you,
How did you get him again?
I said it's public record. It was a public
Thank you.
hearing. Now, if you guys are going to tell me that you went through 10,000 pages and 129 hours in the
time is
last
up.
6 hours.
It's been well
I've
over
been
3
banking
minutes.
my time from
I'm
you
sorry?
interrupting me for the last 2 years.
I didn't interrupt you till the 3 minutes are up.
Today. I'm talking about over the past 2 years when I've been talking.
Well, I'm sorry,
How
but-
did you guys
You're-
go through
You made your point, and we heard
all
your
that
point,
documentation
and
possibly
we understand what you're saying.
in order to follow the hearing
Thank you.
officer's ruling? Your guys' copies. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, that's 5.
Who's next?
This is going to be tough to follow. My name is Jamie Odell, Apple Grove, 256 Apple Grove Drive. I'm sure you guys all know me. This has been going on since December 23rd, 2023. I tried calling you the other day. I left a message. I don't know if you received it or not. I'm trying to get a hold of somebody to try to help me because, you know, it's crazy how people up there want to talk about illegal. I could talk about illegal all day. What's been going on with me is the most insane case of BS ever. I'm a father. My daughter's going to turn 4 December 27th. I've seen her a total of 18 times since then because of the Greece Police Department and the Greece courts. I've been arrested 7 times since December 23, 2023. And what have I done illegal? Nothing. The first time I was arrested, and the second time I was arrested, I was told first time I was just being removed, but yet I was booked, arraigned, order protection. Next day I went to get my property, got arrested. Even though I called 911, asked what to do, they told me what to do. Got arrested, the cop lied, said I'm supposed to stay 500 feet away at all times. Doesn't say that on the paper, it didn't. I did what I was supposed to do. Come to find out later on, calling the DA's office, telling him, hey, you know, my ex-girlfriend had a motive to do this to me. You know, I have proof. Sir, we can't help you. What do you mean? We have no charges here for you. In our eyes, you've never even been arrested. What? I tell this to the judge. 2 weeks later, I got 8 cops coming to my house without a warrant and arresting me. I didn't get any police reports, no nothing. 3 months later, I get the police reports. Everything's altered. Some are thrown away. My ex-girlfriend said I broke her finger on February 9th, 2021 while holding our daughter. It wasn't born until December 27th, 2021. It's impossible. But the judge kept that, dismissed the EWOC, included the CR number, kept the assault. When I got the paperwork, there's no endangering the welfare of a child report. And the assault, she says it's just me and her in the hallway, not us 3. Why did this happen? So they could take that assault, and when they put it to the grand jury, and include those 2 arrests that had no charges to put charges on them. I just been going to court. It just got dismissed September 30th for a criminal contempt violation of an order of protection. A judge signed a warrant for my arrest. I was never even arrested. Signed a warrant for my arrest for a violation of order of protection when the order of protection wasn't even signed by a judge. It got dismissed. I got the disposition right here. I got all of them. Doesn't even have an arrest date on there. And then 2, the April 30th one where they said that one never existed with my daughter. It did exist. They sealed it. I got the disposition right here. I can come up here and blast everybody, name names, do this, do that. I'm not going to. Why? I'm afraid, and I'm a bigger man than that too. I just want someone to please sit down, help me out, go over this, and try to figure some things out. I'm a citizen I've been here I'm 44 years old. I'm not a bad person. Like I said, I could come up here and name names. I can, I got them all here. I just want somebody to talk to try to come up with a resolution because.
I think what you need to do, I feel bad for your situation, but I think what you need to do is deal with either an attorney or the court system, because your issues are in the court,
Yes.
of which we have nothing to do with, and I think that would be your
Okay,
avenue.
what about the Greece police over here that are harassing me and altering
Well,
paperwork?
again-
Fine, Officer Morello altered paperwork, changed paperwork, and I mean, I have proof of it,
Well,
and no one does nothing.
I would say for you to take it up with the legal system, an attorney.
The legal system is not what it should be, and I'll be honest with you. I've had 5 attorneys, spent 30 grand. The one I have now isn't doing nothing for me.
Well, we have nothing, we have no control or influence over
I
that.
just want, I think the way that things are, I think the police should be better trained. They should have, they should be going to mental health. They should be learning how to, work with families, because it seems like that's what a lot of it is domestic and stuff, and this and that, women and men. But they don't know how to handle it. See, I was actually the victim of domestic abuse. I was. And then that because of this girl's father, who he knows and who she knows, I'm the one looking like the bad guy. I mean, I've tried pressing charges on her. I had a video.
Have
of
you
her
have you talked to your attorney on these
Oh,
subjects?
yeah. Oh,
Well,
yeah. But the thing is, one day I called the police. I had to come over to my house because I have a video of her assaulting me while holding my daughter. They refused. I posted it on YouTube. They arrested me for that.
Again, whether it's the courts across the way or whether it's with your attorney or whomever, we have no authority or power, to do anything
But
in your
isn't
situation.
there anything that we could do to where we could better train these people and just look into things? Because I mean, it's affected my relationship with my daughter. I just want to see my daughter, and I mean, what's going on is wrong. And like I said, I could be the way things have gone on with me, I could be flipping out right now, and I am calm, and I'm looking for better. Greece needs to be better. I remember growing up as a kid, and it used to be a nice place, and it just changed, and it just seems like, listening to the people here, they have issues. They're coming up here, and it seems like everyone's just on the defensive. We can't be like this. We're all human beings. We need to work together. We live together. No one's better than anyone else.
Right. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Frank Femia, 45 Wayne Drive, and I'm here to kind of steer the conversation back to agenda item 3, Island Cottage Road. So, as our elected representatives, you guys have a lot of very important decisions to make that affect the people of this town and their day-to-day lives. And what's going on at Island Cottage Road is a great example of that. Depending on how you vote tonight, you have the potential to make hundreds of people's lives materially worse. Maybe. And the reason I say maybe is because we don't have testing extensive enough to confidently say one way or the other if development of that land is a good idea. And I can tell you, when it comes to people's health, you want to be confident. So all I ask is make the decision with the right data in hand so that you can proudly defend this decision years and years later instead of wondering, did I do the right thing or not?
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
If you say there's no technology available to determine if the land is contaminated or not, how do you know it's contaminated?
I didn't say there's no technology. I just said we have not done extensive enough testing
Oh, we've
yet.
had several tests done on that land, and also the DEC has been out there and tested too. I don't know if you're aware of that, but there's been more than one test on that land, and the DEC also has been there, but,
Sure.
all right.
Thank you.
Casey Bolson, 440 Shorecliff Drive. This is about item 3.
If you could speak a little louder, I appreciate it.
This is about item 3, the transfer of the property on Island Cottage Road. A phrase I've ended up repeating frequently over the past year plus has been, I'm really sick of being right. I've been proven correct at every turn, and none of these hypotheses were pleasant ones. At this point, if I were truly incorrect on the possibility of contamination, I feel like someone would gleefully be rubbing my face in the evidence proving it, and I'd welcome it. That's not happened, so now we're here. I'm exhausted. I don't want to be here. I have so many more fun and less stressful things I could be doing, but I'm here. I am morally obligated to be here. I think most people would agree that if you see an impending danger, you need to warn of that danger. How about you just prove me wrong tonight on the premise that anything makes it to the agenda is going to pass and vote no on the property transfer? Let us have a nice Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm horrified that I am living in a reality where I earnestly need to ask this of anyone. Please don't choose to negligently poison seniors, an entire neighborhood, and an entire school full of children after you've repeatedly been handed evidence of the possibility. From where I stand, that doesn't look like you're trying to do the best by the residents of this town. It looks like you are doing your best to emulate Batman villains. Thank you.
Steve DiBattisto, 364 Island Cottage Road. Good evening. Yeah, I've been a resident Greece my whole life. Been at 364 Island Cottage Road, 26 years. You know, and here we are again. You know, we've brought things up. Everybody has. 4-story apartment building behind me. You know, the fire commissioner says he doesn't have a ladder truck to service it. The safety issues, everything. You know, what does that do to the value of my home? Where am I at now? You know, with the horses and stuff, I cannot stay there. You know, and with all this going on, you're going to turn that whole area, this will be just the beginning of it. That whole area will be all 4-story buildings eventually, if we let this one get through. I'm not saying I'm against development, but it's the wrong development and the wrong place. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it? It will close the public forum at this time. We'll now proceed in holding the public hearing to receive comments on the preliminary 2026 Town of Greece operating budget, the annual estimates and assessment rolls for the special districts of the Town of Greece for fiscal year 2026. Madam Clerk.
Publication of notice in the Daily Record on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025, to consider the preliminary 2026 Town of Greece operating budget and the annual estimates and assessment rolls for the special districts of the Town of Greece for the fiscal year 2026 has been received.
At this time, I'd like to recognize Mr. John Hellman, Director of the Finance Department, and ask that he come to the podium and present us with your presentation on the budget.
There we go. Well, thank you, Mr. Supervisor and Town Board members, members of the public, for coming out today, and thanks to the department heads. They do a lot of work in preparation for the budget, submit their requests, we review them, oftentimes review them with them. And so tonight, we're actually going to go a little bit of history, go over just some things that we've done. In 2014, we inherited a budget with a $5 million deficit. I remember the supervisor asking myself, and at that time, Finance Director Paul Houlihan, to give him a report on the finances of the town. And we went through that and saw the deficit and took a look at what the town's reserves were and realized that within a couple of years, the town would be literally bankrupt. It would run out of money. So at that point, the decision was made, well, we have to fix this. And it took us 2 years, but we were able to balance the budget, no increase in the rate. And actually, in 2016, we ran a tiny surplus in our general fund. So we were really pleased that we'd actually accomplished what we had hoped we could do. It actually did it faster than we thought we could. There was a lot of pain in going through that type of thing, but it was necessary. Also in 2016, I actually took a look, because we had been looking at the books. I took a look at the what's known as the Capital Projects Fund. This is typically long-term projects, also projects where you've borrowed money, those types of things. They're big capital projects that deal with roads, infrastructure, and other types of construction. And it was an absolute mess, just a disaster. We took some time to clean that up. Today we actually have only a handful of active projects. We've closed out most of them. We've kept up to date with them. 2018, actually, we got a bulletin came out from the Governmental Accounting Standards Board regarding trust funds. Trust funds have long been ignored and abused throughout the state by a lot of municipalities. We went through the trust fund and we cleaned that up as well. But today we're in much better shape in terms of our books. They're cleaner, they're very transparent. But during this whole time, 2014 to 2025, we've done a lot of work. A lot of that has come about as a result of grants. When I came here in 1989, grants were an afterthought. Most people didn't want to be bothered with them. So the town missed out on probably a lot of grant opportunities. We've pulled in over $40 million in grants during that time period. We all pay taxes to the federal and state governments. We wanted a bunch of that money coming back to the town of Greece. Right now, in 2025, we did borrow money for the first time since 2019. That's a $4.822 million borrowing. It's covered by a federal rebate. That means that once we complete the solar project, which is what it was borrowed for, the federal government will rebate that money to us, so there'll be no burden placed on the town taxpayers for that debt. We do expect that solar farm to be completed. Next week, we will start receiving the first deliveries of equipment, solar panels, rails, and other things, and they're going to begin preparing the site to develop the solar farm. That should be completed probably June of July of next year. Then we will be working with RG&E to get it hooked up. That will then, once it's online, will save us probably $1 million in utilities every year. So I consider it a really good investment. As the proposed property tax rate is 5.68. That's down from 6.34 in 2014. We've worked steadily to reduce the tax rate. So this goes over cash sheet, starting of year, cash and receivables. These are the cash resources. It's only general fund. That's the largest fund of the town and covers the greatest operations. As I said, in 2014, when we started the year, we had somewhere close to $16 million with a $5 million committed to the budget. Obviously, if we hadn't taken action, that would have really reduced the amount of money available. There's a certain amount of money that we cannot spend or is restricted that's included in that amount. And so literally we would have exhausted our reserves within 2 years. As I said, we took care of the deficit by 2016, had a balanced budget. As you can see, we were able to stabilize the town's cash and receivables. The receivables are just what's at the end of the year, what we anticipate coming in. We usually have them all in by the end of February. Beginning in 2017, we then began to accumulate surpluses, and this continued on as we just continue. Even through COVID, we were able to continue to accumulate those surpluses. And in 2023, you can see, or 2022, you can see a very large jump. That's actually the ARPA funds from the federal government post-COVID to take action. It had certain restrictions in it, but that boosted our reserves and allowed us to build an annex to our community center. That allowed it to be restored to a warm emergency shelter because we upgraded all the ventilation services and the heating and ventilation, bring it up to HEPA quality level, which is required in order to open that up under the COVID restrictions that the federal government has in place. As a matter of fact, if you look at all the buildings around the town, back in 2014, only the town hall had a generator. None of the other buildings had a generator. All the town facilities have a generator. So if power is lost, they continue to operate. And that's very important, particularly for our recreation center, which has the adequate space for housing a fair number of people in a weather emergency, such as a major winter storm where power is knocked out. And it has happened in the town of Greece with an ice storm where 10, 20,000 people actually lose their electricity for an extended period of time. Obviously, it dropped by 2023 because we built the community senior center, but we continue to build up additional cash reserves. A lot of that is the simple fact that we kept a strong hand on the expenditures, making sure that people were keeping to their budget. It didn't mean that we didn't put out additional money if money was necessary to get some things done, but essentially strong controls on our expenditures, and our revenues were ramping up faster than we were estimating them. 2025 obviously has come down since we've had some more construction, but it's still at a healthy level. I expect it to still remain at a healthy level at the start of 2026. Our debt service, we've addressed a lot of the debt service issues that the town has had. Debt service is basically the sum of principal and interest paid annually. So you're probably more familiar with that with a mortgage or a car payment. That's called debt service. It's what you're paying out annually to cover the cost of debt. Our bonded debt service will decline by $227,000 in 2026. One of the reasons for that is it's been shrinking because we've been shrinking the debt service, the debt. Our total debt will decline by a little over $1.5 million in 2026. And this is town debt, all types. The blue is a bond. Those are long-term borrowings. The interest rates are set on those for annually. And under certain circumstances, we can restructure the debt. As it stands now, we can't restructure any of our bonded debt, mainly because the interest rates are higher than what the debt actually is right now. Our interest rates, if you go out to market, the interest rate we would get would actually exceed what we're paying on those bonds. The orange, those are notes. 2025, I do not show the $4.8 million being borrowed because that is covered by a federal rebate, so it won't be a burden on the taxpayers. That's for the solar farm. We are what's known as a safe harbor, which is basically said that we've met all the requirements that qualify us for that rebate. So that is pretty much a guarantee. It's written into law, federal law, so it's a guarantee that we're going to get it. This is the change in local levies. We've been really working very hard to keep the levy from growing too much, keeping it under inflation. The fire districts face a serious problem with theirs, and I don't want to really pick on them. Virtually all their revenue comes from taxes, and they're faced with a lot of the same problems that we have with increasing benefit costs, being one of the more serious ones. But I would hope that they would find a way of trying to curb that and find a way of just not putting out those tax increases as they have been. But again, I don't know their cost structure, and they're stuck with not having a lot of revenue other than the tax revenues. But hopefully something can be done in the future. That is really what's driving up your taxes. If you look at the town and fire district levies, while ours has grown, it hasn't grown as much as the fire districts have, and in fact, in 2025, total tax levy for the fire districts paid by Town of Greece residents exceeded that which is taken in by the Town of Greece itself. And this is a simple pie chart showing the breakdown of all the tax levies paid by Town of Greece residents in 2025. And the fire district levies are higher than the town's levy, so is the county, and obviously the school district. We all know the school districts take the lion's share of the tax levy. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my analyst, John Natale. He can go over the numbers for the budget. It's a fairly simple summary that we provide every year, and I'm going to turn that over to him.
Thanks, John. John told me I was going to have to speak this year. I wasn't wild about the idea, but here I am. I'll do my best. First, I'd like to thank everybody on this panel. Each one of you plays some part in putting this together. It starts in June and probably wraps in October. It's a lot of work, and we couldn't do it without your input, your advice, and your expertise, so we thank you for that. What you're looking at here is a summary of the budget overall, and it's comprised of the far left column, which is the appropriations. That's a departmental request and general town expenditures. Then we get to subtract the revenues that we make, which are based on our estimates, trend analysis that we do. The column with the zeros is important. That's allocated fund balance. You'll notice there is none because we don't use fund balance to balance our budget. Next column is the levy, which is down from last year. And finally, our tax rate overall, which is 5.68. This shows our tax rate over the last 10 years. When I started here back in 2017, it was 6.34. We're now at 5.68. That's a 66-cent reduction over the last decade. This year, in particular, it's going to be down 25 cents from the prior year. That's the largest cut I've seen in my career here. I don't know about John. He's been here 39 years, so I think it's maybe the largest one he's seen as well. So we're proud of that. Finally, this is just basically a summary of what a typical tax bill in Greece would be based on an assessment of $200,000. We've had to up that over the last, I don't know how many years. I think this used to be based on an assessment of $100,000 when I started here, but that's no longer practical. But with that 25-cent reduction, the overall tax rate should translate into a $50 savings overall on this $200,000 bill. You'll notice our special district charges have not changed at all. We've held those flat. And that's what it looks like. So at this point, I'll just turn it back over to Joe.
Thank you, John. Uh-oh. The slides there. Start it again. Oh, hang on. Oh, yeah, pretty much that's just pop this up because I just like having that up there. That basically concludes our presentation.
Well, I'm sure members of the board have questions. I had just one quick one before they ask all their questions. There's a 25% 25-cent drop in the tax rate, which is the largest. My question is this: is that still allowing going forward next year or future years a cash on hand balance? We're not leaving a deficit or creating problems for next year or the year after.
We will still have surplus funds at the end of this year. We're still projecting $3-4 million being there in surplus. That's unallocated money that's available to address whatever issues for the next incoming administration. The only challenges I see coming up would be the increases in healthcare benefits that I think everybody is facing. So hopefully they'll be able to to address those.
And when I first arrived here 12 years ago, we had a $5 million annual shortfall for the first couple of years. So as we go forward, the next supervisor will not fall into that same situation. Actually, you're going to have surplus of cash.
I would hope so, yeah. Yeah.
Hope so, or is it going to?
Well, you know me, I always sit back and say, I don't know what the future holds, but yeah, I would expect them to continue on.
On the budget you put together, is there a shortfall?
No, there's no shortfall. We've covered everything, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I appreciate both of you, well, the whole group and the town for submitting all the data and what they need. You guys do I wouldn't want to do that job. I just have a question. On the new borrowing, what was the interest rate and how does it compare to the current interest rates on the old debt?
Oh, it was 2.75%, and it was purchased by Oppenheimer, if you're familiar with Oppenheimer funds. So it's a very big, obviously a large firm. We actually had 5 bidders on it, which is, I think, probably the most I've ever seen. And that 2.75 is comparable to what we're paying on our bonds right now. So we're not getting hit by the higher interest rates.
And that's short term. In other words, that's just advancing us money. We've got money coming in from the federal government, so until the federal government money gets here, we're advancing it so the project can move forward.
Correct. We funded the initial part with cash, and then we made the commitment. Yes, we made the commitment not to borrow more than what the rebate is. And we should have the solar farm completed in 2026, and at that point, we can file for the rebate, and hopefully we will get the rebate in 2026.
Once the solar farm is completed, how will that impact the finances for the residents?
It'll cut $1 million off our utility bill.
So we will no longer have an electric bill for any of our buildings or for any street light in the town of Green?
No, we sized it to match actually a little bit more than what we're currently using.
And that'll save the taxpayers $1 million a year.
That's our estimate, and it will grow, yes, because those rates keep going up.
Sure. Thanks for your work, John,
Oh,
and the work
thanks.
of your team. My question's about the benefit costs. They've seen a significant increase recently. Can you tell me what the impact of that's been specifically?
Yeah, this past year, the benefits went up, I believe, around $2.4 million. And if you go back for 3 years, it's gone up over $6 million.
6 million over 3
Yeah,
years?
yeah, we work in a consortium, which actually has, believe it or not, saved us money because our increase has not been as great as a lot of the others, where they're seeing higher increases. And they attribute it to things like GLP-1 drugs, which a fair number of people are now taking to lose weight, but they're extremely expensive.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I got one. I just want to give a shout out to you and your team. You guys did a phenomenal job. What does our levy stand with respect to the tax cap?
Oh, right now we're $2.7 million below the tax cap. So we've been very cognizant of the tax cap. We have never voted to go beyond it. It sounds like it's a rock-solid limit. It's not. For example, I know there are other municipalities, I won't name them, but they've gone out and they have their levy. The levy exceeds the 2% tax cap, and all that's required is that their board say, yeah, we want to exceed the 2% tax cap, and then just vote it. But we have not done that. We've kept conspicuously underneath it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. So just a couple things. First, I want to say thank you to John and to all the department heads that provided their input, to the two of you and your team for putting the budget together. Great job on that. I was impressed by not having to use any of the fund balance to budget the budget, or to balance the budget, I mean. That should be commended for that as well. one of the things you mentioned in your presentation was about the capital projects and the trust fund
Yeah.
accounts and the cleanup of that. Can you just, especially the trust fund part, can you kind of go into that a little bit more of why it was necessary to do that and what it entailed?
Yeah, I'll start with the Capital Projects Fund. We took a look at it in 2016 because we noticed there were, on the list, when you print out a list of capital projects, there were a bunch of capital projects all listed out. And I realized nobody had declared them inactive so that you wouldn't get this massive list. You just wanted the active ones. And then before I made them inactive, I sat down and went through their histories. We had to do a lot of digging to go through the histories because some of these capital projects went back to 2002. So they were really old. And I think there were a couple that went prior to 2000. So it was a lot of digging. And what I found was literally no one had bothered to clean them up, and there was $1.5 million sitting in the capital fund doing nothing. And once we did all our calculations and balanced all the accounts out, and we moved that over to the debt service fund. And the debt service fund is used to pay down debt. So for years, they weren't even using that money to pay down any debt. So, and today we have less than $200,000 in the debt service fund because that money has been gone to reduce debt. And as for trust has always been this kind of thing where people stuff money in for whatever reason to hold it. And that was one of those things where as we went through GASB 84, Governmental Accounting Standards Board Bulletin 84 about properties of trust, they completely changed it from trust and agency to trust custodial and clarified the rules. The money that is in trust is to be money that is not the town's, but that the town holds for someone else. And so all we have in our trust fund now is the police evidence as well as a scholarship fund. So that money is not town money. Everything else was moved out, and we found almost $900,000 that was inappropriately put in trust, and we moved that back to the operating funds.
There had to have been a lot of digging as well.
That was, yeah. Yeah, we looked at some of these. The descriptions of them were not clear in a lot of cases. I had to actually call former finance directors, and some of them were like, yeah, I don't know what the heck that is. Yeah, so, but we got it all cleaned up now.
Great job. Thank you.
I would like to open up to the public. Anyone that would have questions regarding this budget, please come to the podium. It'll be the same as before, where you state your name and address and ask the questions you have regarding the budget.
Still so. Joe Camillo, 447 Crane Lane. I still want to make the point, which I know you have, with respect to the solar. That is such a fantastic program. Not only does it save you now, but every time the utility goes to raise their rates, you can laugh and smile because you control your own destiny, and you don't have to worry about that. Being that I have 37 solar panels, I know what I'm talking about on my house, and it's a positive and a great thing to do. If anybody ever wants to, on a personal level, please contact me and I'll help you with that project. But that's a phenomenal way to go. Go with that, and then you go with the LED lighting. You're way ahead.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. Doug Dobson, 1630 Edgemere Drive. I saw in the budget presentation that the budget to operate this town is $66 million. How much was it in 2025?
John, how much was it? How much did it go down? We went down this year.
Yeah, we went down about $1 million in the levy.
So last year it was 65 million?
Yeah.
Okay. And I saw that your revenue stream coming in that you subtract from the amount of money that you need to operate the town is 31 million for 2026. How much was it in 2025?
That would have been, the exact amount, I can't give you the exact amount, but our revenues increased $5 million.
So roughly 26?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
And I'll give you a little more clarification on that.
What was the tax levy for 2025?
For 2025, it was $1 million lower.
How much?
It was $1 million lower than what I
In
have here.
25, the levy was higher than in 26.
I'm sorry, thank you.
So
Yeah,
roughly.
it's gone down.
So, yeah,
Okay.
so it was
this year, the tax levy
35,668.
is roughly 34.7.
Yeah.
The tax levy. So last year was roughly 35 point something.
Yeah,
Okay. So the tax levy's going down, but the cost to operate the town is going up by $1 million. Okay.
It's predominantly due to health care and retirement increases, which
Yeah.
were significant.
yeah, the appropriations have gone up $4 million, and that is all, over $2 million of that is just benefits.
Okay.
And the rest of it, some labor costs have also moved up.
Okay, I concur with you on that because for 5 years I've been putting together the Lakeshore Fire District budget. And I totally concur with some of the statements that you made, John, that, you know, what on the fire districts, we have no revenue.
Yeah.
No revenue. All of our budget is benefits, labor, and maintenance and all that. There's no fat in our budget. Our budget in Lakeshore is $3.4 million.
Yeah.
North Greece is around 22 million, 7 times higher than ours. Ridge Road is 5 times higher. Barnard is double ours, okay? I know you're not throwing stones at the fire districts, and, you know, I heard you say that, but it's because we don't have revenue.
Right.
That's what's driving.
No, and I understand that, and you buy a fire truck, it's $1 million. If we buy a plow truck, it's $250,000. I mean, our equipment
We
costs are
got
not
2
like yours.
fire trucks on order. We received one.
Yeah.
$975,000. We ordered a fire truck in October of 2022, and we still don't have it yet. 30-some months in delivery to get a fire truck. The one thing, Bill, that bothers me is when I look at my county and town tax bill, and, you know, I compare 2024 to 2025, and I look at the equalization rate that the town is applying. I did the calculation on my county tax bill, all right? Adam Bello just came out, just said this last week, he's lowering the county tax bill by 36 cents. You're lowering it 25 cents per thousand. Great, okay? But I don't get that 36 cents on my county tax bill. I don't get it. And I can show you my tax bills. I looked at the town of Parma. They're at 100%. They get the full county tax rate. The county tax rate for 2025 was 603. It's going down to 567.
The only thing I interrupt you, to compare to Parma is a little different because where I pay $8.49 a thousand for my fire protection, if I lived in Parma, it'd be about $1.53. And if I lived in Penfield,
No,
it'd be 83
I'm just using the
cents.
county, just the county.
Well, I'm
rate
just
per
saying though,
thousand.
but different communities, the amounts are different. And I can tell you why it's able to be done, because on the east side and many other towns did not, they're at 100%. So therefore, it's a windfall to the county. Why did we deviate? For probably 7 or 8 years, we were at 100%, and we made a conscious decision to lower us, where we're now at 61. And the reason being
And you're going
is
to
because of
58.
because of the school tax, the fire tax, and that's predominantly the reason.
That's where you're wrong, Bill. I only need to collect 3.4 million. It doesn't matter what the equalization rate is. It really doesn't.
Well, you're correct. If all the fire departments, and I'll talk fire, or it could be, you know, other entities as well, taxing entities. But since you're addressing the fire departments, if the fire department said, okay, we're at 100%, and you only need to collect 3.2 million or whatever that is, so we're going to drop our rate from 850 or 849 Ridge Road down to 549 or whatever that number would be, that would be perfect. But I brought in
and
all
that's
the
what I would do.
commissioners,
I
and
would
I brought.
drop the Lakeshore from $5.43 to
Right,
$3.40.
but you're the only one, because I brought all the fire commissioners in, all the fire chiefs, and we were trying to say, look, you guys got to drop your rate if we keep it at 100%, and we couldn't get a commitment out of the school district, we couldn't get a commitment out of the fire districts that they
Well,
would do it.
For 5 years, I haven't been invited to none of those meetings.
Well, we had them about 3 or 4 years ago. Lakeshore was there.
Maybe the fire chief or the acting fire
We
chief.
had chiefs and commission members on the board
I
in
wasn't.
our meeting.
I've been on the board 5 years.
I know. I remember when you ran to cut taxes and not have a chief. I remember your platform well.
No, I wasn't running on not having a chief.
A paid
State-
chief. Excuse me,
State
a
law
paid
says I have to
full-time
have a
chief.
paid chief when I have 6 or more career
Well,
firefighters.
the point I'm making is, it was because of other taxing entities of which we have no control over.
I
If
know
we
you
left it at 100%, they could potentially have a windfall of cash without their commitment. And everyone would come in to town hall, as our receiver of taxes will tell you, and all they do is complain how the town's raising taxes. When we're the lowest taxing entity of all the components that go into your property tax rate, and we've cut the taxes almost every single year, never raised them once. And everyone comes in and
I did-
says,
I
you
did the
promised that you
calculation,
cut
Bill.
taxes,
You-
and my taxes went up. You guys are liars. It's not us. It's the school district, the
You
fire
cut the
department,
tax
and
rate from
and
2024
the
to
county.
2025 by 1 penny. It shows right on my 2 back bills, I paid the town of Greece $3 less in 2025 than I did in 2024.
But you look at it, but most
I
people
paid the
pay through
county-
escrow, and they don't see
I paid the county
that.
$444 more, because I don't get the full county tax rate. I lost money last year.
Right, but I'm saying
And I
most,
lost it to the fire
most
department.
people pay through escrow, so they don't see the breakdown. They just know the bank says, hey, I got to pay $200 a month more, or whatever that number might
Right.
be.
No, I have a
And they come
mortgage.
in and they're upset with the town.
I have a mortgage escrow, and I get a copy of my tax bill from the bank, and I study it. I've got them going back almost 50 years, when I moved in on Edgemere at 1437. I'm just a nerd where I keep all that, I'll admit it. But I don't think he's throwing stones at the fire districts, because we don't
Just
have any
dealing
revenue.
with facts, that's all.
Yeah, but it makes it look like that the fire districts aren't controlling their costs. Some of the costs are out of our control. Fire
Well,
engines.
Doug, you know as well as I do, one way to control those costs is consolidation. We have more fire equipment in the town of Greece than the city of Rochester.
I agree with you. But, Bill,
We can't get the fire departments to agree with that.
if my tax rate in the Lakeshore Fire District is $5.40 and yours is almost $10, why would I want to combine and have my taxpayers in my district pay more money?
Because ultimately, it would save money because of consolidation. We wouldn't need,
Just-
25, or not
just
25, 10 or 15 fire departments, firehouses, if we consolidate. And as a
I
matter
did
of
the
fact,
calculation.
your position in Lakeshore, why don't you merge with North Greece and start that whole momentum?
Because their tax rate is higher than ours. All my taxpayers.
But theirs would come down, yours would go up slightly, but
Ours
ultimately,
will
you
go up
then
over
could save
25
money.
cents per thousand.
You wouldn't need the staffing that you have now, and you wouldn't need to buy the equipment you
We
have
only
now.
have 13 paid firemen, 1 chief and 12 firefighters.
And I know it's hard to do a comparison because you're the smallest of all the 4 fire departments.
We have 2,915 properties. North Greece has 14,700.
Right.
We are forced to give away $81 million in exemptions in the Lakeshore Fire District. And you want to add another Section 8 housing project in the Lakeshore Fire District.
No Section 8.
Well, it's senior citizen, low income.
Section
It's
8.
not going to pay, half of it's not going to pay their taxes, half of that site.
I don't know if that's an accurate statement.
It was said at the planning board meeting, when it was being approved. So you're adding on the burden of more exemptions in our district. It's like putting, more crap in a 5-gallon bucket than it'll hold. We're 81 million. Our
Well,
value is
then what I would-
632 million.
I would ask you to help out all the taxpayers of the town of Greece to take on a personal effort to work with the other fire commissioners to consolidate your services. That's one way to cut costs. Everyone knows that you did a study. Everyone put in each fire department put in $20,000, $80,000 study. The study came back saying you should consolidate. Everyone goes, no, I don't want to do it.
No, it didn't say that. In fact, it didn't even give a good recommendation. It was
Well,
80,000
that
a
report
wasted
was
money.
reviewed at the meeting I'm talking about that you said you weren't at.
It was a waste of money that the fire district spent. I came in on the
Well, it's a waste of money if they weren't going to honor or enact on what the
There
study
was
told them.
absolutely no cost savings recommended in that study. It was basically an inventory of what all the fire districts had. personnel,
So
equipment.
do you support that position, that if we consolidated 4 fire districts, that we wouldn't need less equipment and less personnel?
I'd want to see the figures bear that out. I mean, I can add up all the budgets of the 4 fire districts and add up all the assessed value, divide it in, and come up with a combined rate, and just say it's a 20% savings. You can reduce buildings, reduce some manpower, and I don't believe you'll get 20%, but I used the 20%. The tax rate then is still higher than what we're paying in Lakeshore.
Well, all I can tell you is this. You're talking about 4 fire districts, that their combined levy is larger than the town of Greece. We have 100 officers on the road. We have 433 employees in the town. We pave the roads, we plow the roads, we have parks, we have community centers, we have libraries, and still, we do it on less money than the fire department.
You got revenue. And the thing is, you probably get state aid. I looked at the school budget, $362 million. Do you know how much state aid they get? 150-some million.
I know,
You know what the
because
tax levy is? It's half.
when I served on the assembly, I served on education committee, and every single year, without exception, the state funding to the school districts increased it every single year.
How much did the fire districts get from the state? Nothing. How much did we get from COVID? Nothing. It never trickles down from the county or the state. That's a problem.
Well,
Now-
together, hopefully, we can find a solution,
Well,
because it's going to not get any better.
Right. You know, you can't even buy a pair of gloves for somebody in the town unless you go through state bid, right? Fire trucks. I can't even, they're not even on state bid. Police cars, state bid. Dump trucks, state bid. You know?
Correct.
I have to go fend for myself to buy a pair of gloves. That's wrong. Why aren't the fire districts included in state bid?
Well, again, all I can say is when I was in Albany, we were met by lobbyists, both from volunteer and paid fire departments, and that's what they do. They lobby legislation so those things can occur, and that's what you've got to continue doing.
Okay.
Thanks,
you.
Doug. Joe, you're getting all your exercise for that knee surgery.
I know. Joe Camiolo again, 447 Creighton. The only point that I want to make is you cannot compare 4 fire districts the same. And North Greece has got the largest area. Matter of fact, our district is bigger than the city of Rochester alone. Lakeshore is not even a tenth. Barnard Ridge is pretty good size, but you got to compare apples to apples. And the thing that kills us, yes, is the employees. When Kodak was at its heytime, it helped volunteers by giving them up to 40 hours a year of time off to fight fires. Kodak isn't there, it doesn't do it, that's why we
Well,
went to
certainly
pay.
the absence of volunteers is the biggest impact, I think, to the budget of the fire departments.
So I just wanted to make the point
We're
clear.
a combination department. This year, we've successfully added 9 new volunteers. They just completed their training out at the academy, and they're
That's good.
firefighters. It is, it's good. We're up to 34 now.
You probably have one of the largest groups. I certainly know you far exceed Ridge Road.
Yes, we do. Bill, I just wanted to mention to you that this week, we had a fire down on Island Cottage Road. Car fire sitting next to a garage, caught part of the house on fire. We got there lickety-split and saved it. What I need to let you know is they sent 2 ladder trucks to come to assist on that. Because one of the Greece fire districts' ladder truck is out of service or being worked on or something. A ladder truck from, it was either Gates or Spencerport had to come, and it would have probably taken 20, 30 minutes for that ladder truck to get to Island Cottage Road. Right. Luckily, when we got on scene, assessed it, we called and turned that ladder truck back to go back to Gates or Spencerport. So as you consider a 4-story building in our district, you're not always going to get 2 ladder trucks to it in time.
I can tell you every time there's a call here, the town of Greece, even if it's somebody twisted their ankle, it's the ladder truck that responds, and I don't know why. It isn't a pickup truck, but, yeah.
Jim Cumming, 96 Long Pond Road. I really didn't plan on speaking tonight, but after listening to Doug, I got to speak up. Since 2017, my fire taxes have gone up 91.5%. Just the fire taxes. And then they ordered 2 fire trucks, over 900,000 apiece. One of them, that they received one not even a year ago, that's out of service because they went on they got called for a mutual aid to Spencerport. They pulled out they didn't even make it out of the garage. The driver cut too short, dislodged the pump from the frame, so that's still out of service. I don't know if there was any disciplinary, doesn't matter. I doubt there was a drug test given, but these fire taxes are out of control. Out of control. I think that's all I got to say. Like I said, I didn't plan on speaking, but 91.5%, it's too high. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll close the public comment period. Now we're going to move on to Okay, we'll now proceed with the second item, public hearing tonight, a rezoning of .33 plus or minus acres of land located at 3223 West Ridge Road, Monroe County Tax Number 073.163-2 from R1-E Single Family to BP Professional. Madam Clerk.
Publication of notice in the Daily Record on Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025, for the rezoning of .33 acres of land located at 3223 West Ridge Road, Monroe County Tax Number 073.16-3-2 from R1E Single Family Residential to BP Professional Office has been received.
I'd like to this time recognize Chris Schultz from Schultz Engineering that will lead us off on this.
Thank you. Yeah, more than 35 years ago, I came before the zoning board of the town of Greece to get a use variance for this property for the Castle Brothers. At the time, it was single family, and the use they wanted fit more in line with commercial. So they were successful in getting a use variance. And at this point, since it's been so many years, and the town has gone through a number of comprehensive plans, it just made sense to request that the property actually would be rezoned to BP commercial, and this would be in line with how the property has been used for many years. It does fit the current comprehensive plan in that Ridge Road is targeted to be commercial mixed use along that corridor. So it's pretty much a straightforward thing. This is just a simple copy of the survey map showing the lot and the improvements and the area that would obviously be rezoned to BP commercial. This is directly across from major commercial on Ridge Road. There is a commercial strip mall to the east and a large congregation church to the west of this site. As soon as you get off Ridge Road, you're right into single family residential. So again, the use that has been there for years, worked very well. It didn't basically have any impact on the single family, and we don't anticipate there will be any changes associated with it. So this is more in keeping with good planning as the town master plan cites. Oftentimes rezoning occurs when you go back and you look at all the parcels that exist with use variances and say, well, okay, this makes sense. It should actually go to what the use is and has been for a number of years. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So the request is just for the simple rezoning of this one parcel here.
Thank you. Now, Scott Copey, if you'd like to offer some comments.
Yes, thank you, Supervisor. Just real briefly, this is, as Chris kind of summarized, the property's has had professional office use since the early 90s. We were debating whether it was 91 or 94, but the use variance was granted at that time. We have cycled this through the county, and they didn't really have any comments on it. I did speak with one neighbor, resident immediately to the south, and just had some questions about potential future use, and I explained to the gentleman that uses that are allowed in the professional office zoning district are very similar to the use that has been in place on that site for 30-some years. So really no change on the ground. There's no proposed redevelopment or demolition or anything like that. So could be a different office user, but it's going to be a very similar use.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the property, having driven by that for those 35 years. And from an outward appearance, you wouldn't really know that it was anything other than a house with people living in it. It's not, there's no flashing signs or drive-up windows or anything like that, so this makes a lot of sense. So thank you very much for the presentation. We'll now take questions and comments from the general public. And I would invite for the public to please come up to the podium, the center aisle, and state your name and address for the record. If you have any questions, we will document those questions and provide the responses to your questions after the last speaker has completed their comments. Please know that all questions and comments will be directed through the chair, and keep in mind that you will have 3 minutes to provide comments or ask questions, and I will advise that this is not going to be a direct question and answer period, but again, ask your questions, we'll write them down, and then when the last person speaks, we'll answer all the questions that were asked. If anyone has any questions regarding this application? Okay. No, we'll close that portion, and I would ask if anyone here on the board has any questions, or, oh, pretty straightforward. Okay.
Mr. Supervisor, I'd like to make a motion.
Certainly.
Whereas Michael and Robert Castle, the applicant, has submitted a request to the town board to rezone .323 plus or minus acres of land located at 3223 West Ridge Road from R1E Single Family Residential to BP Professional Office. And whereas the town board makes the following findings. The proposal is subject to review under the seeker regulations and constitute an unlisted action. And on November 20th, 2025, in the Greece Town Hall, 1 Vince Toffney Boulevard, the town board held a public hearing to consider the rezoning, at which time all parties in interest and citizens are afforded the opportunity to be heard. Documentary, testimonial, and other evidence relative to the proposal were presented at the hearing for the town board's consideration of this property. The town board has carefully considered the environmental assessment form, EAF, excuse me, and supported documentation which together with the resolution constitute the environmental analysis. And the town board has met the procedural and substantive requirements of seeker and concurs with the information and conclusion contained in the environmental analysis. And now therefore be it resolved that pursuant to seeker, based on the aforementioned information, documentation, testimony, and findings, the town board determines that the proposal will not have a significant adverse impact on the environment, which constitutes a negative declaration. So moved.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
The findings, whereas the town board makes the following findings. The property has been occupied by professional office uses for more than 30 years pursuant to the use variance granted by the Board of Zoning Appeals on July 9th, 1991, and low-intensity uses permitted in the BP Professional Office District combined with setback limitations and the property's small size, ensure that future uses will create minimal impact and be small in scale. And now therefore be it resolved that based on the aforementioned information, documentation, testimony, and findings, pursuant to the authority conferred by the New York State Town Law, Article 16, and the Code of the Town of Greece, Chapter 211 of the official zoning map of the Town of Greece, New York, hereby be amended as proposed, subject to the following conditions. In the event of any conflict among oral or written descriptions of the proposal, the site development plans for the proposal, or the requirements of restrictions of the resolution, the town board, in its sole discretion and judgment and without hearing, shall determine the resolution of such conflict. Wherever this resolution refers to a specific public official, agency, or regulation, it shall be construed to include any succeeding authority. So moved.
I'll second it.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll now move on with the, proceed with the rest of the agenda. Will the clerk please call the first item on the agenda?
Waiver of the requirements for a new special use permit to operate a restaurant known as Big Lou's Pizza, located at 2010 West Ridge Road, requested by Joseph Ferrari, Ferrari Pizza, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilman Bloomer. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 2, authorization to enter into an initial 3-year agreement with iWork Systems, P.O. Box 3784, Logan, Utah, 84323, to provide specific software and job tracking, parts inventory, and asset management for the Department of Public Works. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all related documents.
Second.
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilman Murphy. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 3, authorization to transfer 20.16 acres of property located at 354 Island Cottage Road, Monroe County Tax Number 046.01-16.111 to MuniPro, Inc. in accordance with the proposed resolution.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilwoman Crisadaro. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Let the record reflect the 3-2 vote. Next item?
Never got discussion.
Oh, you want discussion? I'm
Yeah, I
sorry.
just wanted to,
Certainly.
well, it's passed now, it doesn't matter, but, I mean, our residents spoke to us. We're here because of the residents. Development is great in Greece, but obviously we have people that lived here for years. Steve, he's not in favor of a 4-story. I just wanted you to remind you all of that before we vote, but we already voted, so.
Okay, item 4.
Authorization to make various adjustments and transfers to the 2025 budget list attached.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilman Murphy. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 5, adoption of the 2026 preliminary budget and 2026 special district assessments.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilwoman Crisadaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 6, acceptance of a letter of credit in the amount of $839,802 from Glencore Ltd. for site work at the GBR Hub facility, former Life Cycle.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 7, authorization for the town's insurance carrier to settle the matter of Emily Jong versus Town of Greece, ETAL, index number E20220100373, relating to the incident that occurred on September 20th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman Bloomer. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 8, authorization for the town's insurance carrier to settle the matter of Ioana Mura versus Town of Greece, ETAL, index number E20220100373, relating to the incident that occurred on September 20th, 2021.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilwoman Crisadaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries.
Item number 9, authorization for the town's insurance carrier to settle the matter of Bronco versus Town of Greece, ETAL, index number OPM-19-09 177 relating to the incident that occurred on September 17th, 2018.
Second?
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilman Bloomer. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 10, authorization to provisionally appoint one full-time library clerk effective November 22nd, 2025.
Second.
Moved by Councilman DeFazio, second by Councilman Murphy. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 11, authorization to approve 5 full-time police officers effective November 22nd, 2025.
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilwoman Cristodaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 12, authorization to abolish one full-time junior engineer and provisionally appoint one full-time staff engineer effective November 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilman DePonzio. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 13, authorization to appoint one full-time police captain effective November 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilman Murphy. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 14, authorization to appoint one full-time police lieutenant effective November 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilwoman Cristodaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 15, authorization to appoint one full-time police sergeant effective November 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 16, authorization to abolish one full-time library assistant and appoint one full-time senior library assistant effective November 22nd, 2025.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman Bloomer. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 17, authorization to enter into various agreements for programs associated with the operation of the center.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Murphy, second by Councilman Cristodaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 18, authorization to set a bid date of Monday, December 8th, 2025 at 3 p.m. to receive bids for landscape maintenance for various Town of Greece facilities.
Moved by Councilman Cristodaro, second by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 19, authorization to enter into an agreement with Pasco Building Automation Systems, the exclusive dealer in this area, for the term of 3 years to service and support the HVAC computer control systems for various town facilities. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all related documents.
Second?
Moved by Councilwoman Cristodaro, second by Councilman Bloomer. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 20, authorization to execute intermunicipal agreements with the County of Monroe for receipt and use of funding for the 2026 Stop DWI Enhanced Enforcement Program in the amount of $15,589 for the period of January 1, 2026 through December 31st, 2026, and to accept any additional funds which may become available from the New York State Stop DWI Foundation, Inc.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Cristodaro, second by Councilman Murphy. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 21, authorization to execute intermunicipal agreements with the County of Monroe for receipt and use of funding for the High Visibility Engagement Campaign Grant in the amount of $6,000 for the period of October 1, 2025 through September 30th, 2026, and to accept any additional funds which may become available from the High Visibility Engagement Campaign Grant.
Second?
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilman Bloomer. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 22, authorization to enter into various agreements for programs associated with the operation of the library. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all related documents.
Second.
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilman Murphy. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 23, authorization to appoint Keith Sir to the Board of Directors of Municipal Projects, Inc. to fulfill an unexpired 3-year term to expire December 31st, 2026.
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilwoman Cristodaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, item carries.
Item number 24, authorization to approve a resolution in support of Congressman Nick Langworthy's Energy Choice Act and to urge Congress to pass that act to defend consumer choice, protect energy affordability, and preserve reliable access to natural gas for the residents of the Town of Greece and throughout New York State.
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 25, authorization for the town of Greece to hold a fireworks display on Thursday, December 4th, 2025, as part of the annual Christmas tree lighting event. Further authorization for the supervisor to execute all related documents.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilman Murphy. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 26, authorization to accept surplus taser equipment from the Brighton Police Department.
So moved.
Second?
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilman Crisadaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 27, authorization to dispose of the following from the Parks Department. One Miracle Brand Year 2000 playground set consisting of swing, slides, and steps.
Second.
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilman Bloomer. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 28, authorization to appoint one full-time motor equipment operator effective December 8th, 2025.
Second.
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilman Murphy. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 29, authorization to abolish one full-time librarian, one position, and appoint one full-time library assistant effective November 22nd, 2025.
Second?
Moved by Councilman DePonzio, second by Councilman Crisadaro. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, item carries.
Item number 30, authorization to promote one full-time librarian, one to librarian two, effective November 22nd, 2025.
So moved. Second.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Item passes. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss employment history and matters leading to the potential demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or the removal of a particular person. Please note that no action will be taken following the end of the executive session other than the formal closing of this evening's town board meeting. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Oh, okay. We got a couple of seconds here. Moved by myself, second by Councilman Bloomer and Councilman, jeepers, Murphy. Item carried, and at this time, we'll take a 5-minute recess to clear the room. I couldn't remember your name. Do I need a motion to come out of executive? Yes. I'd like a motion to come out of executive session, offered by whom?
So moved.
Moved by Councilman Bloomer, second by Councilman DePonzio. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Is there any other business to come before this town board? There being none, the next regular meeting of the Greece Town Board is scheduled for Thursday, December 11th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We now stand adjourned.